I'd like to welcome everyone out to our Layton City Council meeting this evening of August 15th. Our start time is 7:02, and we appreciate everyone here. As customary, we like to start our meetings with a prayer and a pledge. We take turns each month in doing so. So this month it is my turn. So I'll go ahead and start with the pledge, and then I'll have the prayer. So if you'd like to stand with me. Repeat after my words. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll now bow. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to be able to convene here this evening as a governing body for the great city of Layton. We're extremely grateful for the folks that we have that are willing to help us run this city in so many different ways, and for all the work that they do. We ask you to bless them in their daily lives, and especially those that put their lives on the line for our own safety and protection. We ask for that same guidance and protection to be upon all of our residents. And we pray tonight that as we convene on the business that has brought forth the city at this time, that we may do so with logic and understanding and knowledge to be able to act in the best interest of this city. We're grateful again for all that we have and the abundance around us with such a great environment. And we ask of these things humbly in thy name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay. Typically at this time we'd go ahead and approve some minutes, but we do not have any minutes, so we'll go ahead down to our municipal announcements. So, Council, I know some of you are on different commissions. If you'd like to make your announcements at this time, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one announcement that I've been announcing for the past few weeks now. The Layton Communities That Care Coalition, in partnership with Layton City, is hosting a movie showing or a free movie screening on next Thursday, August 22nd. The name of the movie or the film is called Screenagers. And this is a community event for teenagers, parents, and community members. Anybody basically who cares about our young people, who works with young people. And this film is to address substance use in young people and the digital age and how things have ramped up and changed. And so it's just to bring awareness to not just the teens, but also to parents and community members. It will be held right here across the parking lot in the Kinley Amphitheater, and it will begin at 7 p.m. I posted it on my Facebook, but it's also posted on the city website and on the calendar. And if you go to Davis Behavioral Health Utah, their website, you can get information. There's a QR code. I'll leave some of these outside that you can scan that code to register for your attendance. It is free, but we want to make sure we have enough snacks and whatnot for everybody. There will be raffles. There will also be credit recovery for students who may have some credits that need to be recovered for their citizenship. So we're inviting everyone who can and will to attend. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Councilman Roberts.
Yeah, Mayor, Parks and Recreation, a lot of things going on for families and individuals in the area. Fest is ongoing and will happen again tomorrow evening, 5:30 to 9 p.m. Lots of things to do, food trucks, entertainment happening both at 6 and 7 p.m., live entertainment, shopping from the vendors that support us every week, and then go over to the Ed Kinley Amphitheater and enjoy watching the Super Mario Brothers movie at 7 p.m. So Fest is always fun. 2 weeks from tomorrow evening will be the end of summer bash at Surf and Swim, 6:45 to 9 p.m., $2 per person. So very affordable, good way to end summer at the pool. Mm-hmm. While the bubble's still down, open air. Then the next week, September 7th to the 23rd, will be Bubble Week when the pool will be closed and putting the bubble up. Usually it's 2 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks. This time is the pool gets a new liner, I believe. Some new improvements to the surf and swim. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Councilman Thomas?
On the 17th of August, which is Saturday, is JC Day, which we inaugurated last year. And they will be doing live audio historical things about the JCs and probably other things as well at the museum. That's where they'll be meeting, and they'll probably be meeting there after 12 o'clock. And so we just wanted to recognize them again for all the things that they did. I don't want to say start Layton City, but they sure did a lot of work involved in Layton City as time went on, especially with our parks and our recreation departments. So anyway, they'll be doing that on Saturday.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, being that there's none, I do want to kind of capitalize a little bit on what Councilmember Smith Edmondson spoke about as far as the screenagers and the fact that, school has started. We are back in school in session. So I highly encourage everyone to make sure you slow down, acknowledge the speed limits, and please be aware for all pedestrians, but most importantly during the school crossings and all of our crosswalks throughout our city. But, your neighborhoods are only 25 miles an hour, so please acknowledge that. I've said this time and time again. Speeding is our number one issue, and it really takes all of us to kind of slow down and work together on that. So thank you. Okay, being that there's no more announcements to be made, I'm going to go ahead and jump down to our citizens comment portion of our meeting. This portion of our meeting is an opportunity for our citizens to address the governing body here of Layton City. And you're all welcome to address us. We ask that you state your name and address for the record. We do have a time limit of 3 minutes that we acknowledge and need to enforce. But certainly if you're not, well, actually, we don't have a public hearing. So if you wish to speak on anything that you want to bring before our attention, please do so. But also understand that legally, we will not engage in any type of dialogue or question and answer period. This is a time for you to state your information, and then we allow our staff to do the research and homework for us, and we'll reach back out to you. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to our citizens, if anyone wishes to address us.
Hi, my name is Sandeep. Sorry, this is my first time. But I have something I want to give it to the recorder. Is it okay?
To the city recorder? Sure.
So again, my name is Sandeep. So I'm buying a piece of property in Layton City. I'm having a hard time with my business license. So there were some issues with previously, since 1997, the landscape plan which was approved for that property. And that plan was not up to code till now. Now, which comes into effect when I'm trying to buy it, the City Planning Commission wants me to apply that plan, which I did, kind of. So they were missing 8 trees. We planted those trees as per the requirement by the City Planning Commission. The only mistake I made that I thought the tree has to be 48 inches high. They are 48 inches tall. And the caliper or the trunk is not 2 inches. My trees are only inch. And I already spent like close to $3,000 in planting those trees. Now, Planning Commission wants me to take those trees out and replant it, which is going to cost me another $5,000 because those trees are $400 plus. And I need some time because the trees, they will grow. They're not like my height, which will stop at certain. And if I can get some time by next fall, if the trees don't grow to the city requirement, then I will take it out and then I will replant it. But if the tree's already planted, and then I think, that's what I think, that city should discuss with the planning committee and the planning commission if we can do something. If not, in the end, I have to do it because there's a lot of money, of my money is on stake. Okay, thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else?
Hello, my name is Daniela Harding. I reside at 1506 East, 2050 North. Today, I want to address some issues that I've been having with public works in my neighborhood. So my comments will largely be directed at Mr. Steve Jackson in hopes that I can provide some meaningful feedback as a citizen here in Layton City. There has been a water main break in my neighborhood, and it has caused the water to be shut off, which we understand. I first want to focus on the good. The good is today I had a very lovely young man from Public Works named Austin come to my door and actually tell me that the water was going to be shut off. And I praised him. Thank you so much. We have a swamp cooler, and if it doesn't have water running, then my pump will burn out. I was very grateful about that. However, yesterday I had a very unpleasant experience with a Public Works worker. The issue is on 1450 Hidden Hollow Drive and Antelope Drive, there was some work being done at that intersection. Many of you know what intersection I'm talking about. It's at the bottom of the hill. I slide through it regularly in the wintertime. And there was some work being done. This has happened more than once with Public Works. They block the clear view. And I couldn't see east and I couldn't see west. I understand that they were working, but there was no flagger. There was nothing. So I'm trying to turn right to go west, and I absolutely couldn't see because a large dump truck was blocking east. And I was putting myself and my child in the way of getting in an accident. So I rolled down my window and I very politely said to the Public Works worker, "Would you please help? I can't see." To which he told me to reverse my vehicle and go back up in my neighborhood and go around to 1650. And I said, "I cannot reverse my vehicle here." And so I am pleading with Public Works. Please do not block the clear view. Please, for the sake of the safety of the citizens, please have a flagger or at least close off the roads that we would be using. I understand they have a tough job to do. Layton City, in my view, has the top Public Works department in the entire state. When it snows, I know Public Works will be there in half a second, and I very much appreciate them. However, we need to make sure that when they're doing their projects, that citizens can see and not get in an accident almost like I did yesterday. Thank you for your time, and I hope this will be addressed.
Thank you. Is there anyone else at this time?
My name is Jacob Garn. I reside at 674 Rose Blossom Drive, Layton, Utah, 4041. You know, you guys are awesome. I don't think there's anyone here that's doing this for their own benefit. I know better than anyone. Sacrifice from you, your families, for your whole lives. So thank you. I've never had a bad interaction with any of the employees of the city or the police, and I'm so grateful for the privilege of living here my whole life. I went to 7-Eleven on July 20th. It was about 11 a.m., and I saw someone suffering in the parking lot. They're indigent, looked homeless, kind of ignored it. Went on my way, like we usually do. I went back 4 hours later for another big gulp because I'm addicted to big gulps, and it's a problem. It's my own fault. She was still there suffering even worse. She was searching for her keys with her partner. I helped them search for their keys, asking questions, finally found out they were there from Salt Lake to retrieve their stolen car, which Layton City called them up to do. Once they retrieved the stolen car, they ran the young woman, for warrants, which she had for sleeping in the park in Provo. They arrested her, searched her car that was just stolen, found some substances, arrested her. She had pneumonia, she was taken to the hospital, spent a couple hours there, couldn't be medically cleared to be released, was brought back to 7-Eleven and was there for 4 hours looking for their keys. I thought maybe the police have the keys, so I called the non-emergency dispatch number, I said, is there a stolen car situation? She's like, yeah. Their keys are in the evidence locker. They can't get them till Monday. Well, they're stranded here. What do you mean they can't get them till Monday? And they're lucky we didn't tow their car. I'm like, are you serious? And like, they're sitting here suffering and you won't give them their keys till Monday? She's like, we can call medical. Do they need medical? And well, I'm not a doctor. She's all, I can call medical, almost as if happy to dismiss it to medical. And I got infuriated. I held the phone about this far away from my mouth and I started shouting at the top of my lungs. I don't know if these people need medical attention. The police have their keys. They won't release their keys. Can anyone help me see if these people shouted. She finally sent a sergeant out. The key was there. Their car was there 10 days later. I've sent a freedom of information request to the police. Brick wall they're getting litigated against, I guess. I have an interview with her telling me about the whole thing. She's holding the stray cat go everywhere. I'm not here for viral videos. If you take someone's home, it's bad news. I drove them home to their house at the end of a dead-end street in Salt Lake on my own volition, dropped them off with all their stuff. Broke my heart. They need friends. If anyone wants to be their friend with me, I'll send you all my email address. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, seeing that there's none, I want to thank everyone for addressing us at this time. And like I said, we'll be able to get back to you on that. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to our consent items tonight. On our consent items, we do have 3 items. And just so everyone's aware that the council's able to consider all of these items and be able to enact in one single motion upon them. So at this time, we'd like to go ahead and have, I think, Chad, you're first up, right? No, Clint.
Yeah, looks like it's me.
Excuse me, sorry. Our first item on the agenda is to amend the title, and our own city attorney, Mr. Clint Drake, will be presenting the information to us here to consider.
Thank you, Mayor. These are 2 pretty small amendments. They're made at the request of our fire chief. The first one is just, we were already looking into the amending Title 16 of the fire code. And so we just wanted to, while we were in there, we wanted to clarify one definition. It's essentially the same. It was just a strangely worded definition. It used to be called grossly negligently caused fire or hazardous material emergencies. We've just changed that definition to fire or hazardous materials emergency caused by gross negligence. It's the same definition, just worded a little bit differently because it was a little awkward. The only other change that was requested is when there are hazardous materials, when our fire responds to hazardous material events, there's often a considerable amount of cleanup. And one of the things that they're starting to find is that when there is a battery on an electric vehicle, if it catches fire, it's a significant expense to put that out. It requires a thermal blanket that our department purchases, and they have them on hand. But the thermal blankets cost about $2,500 each. They're a one-time use, and it's made to basically, as I understand it, stifle the fire so that they can take it to a safe place, and basically it will just continue to burn until it burns out. So the 2 expenses that are typically associated with those types of fires is number 1, the expense of the thermal blanket, and number 2, it can, Steve's informed me that it can sometimes actually do damage to the asphalt. So those are the 2 types of expenses that we would be looking at. And so we're asking the council to just include that. There's already in the code, it already contemplates chemicals and infectious types of substances. And so we're just asking for that to include thermal. The next one is just simply a definition that, again, clarifies a little bit, uses where it's used in that gross negligence. So it now reads, if the person determined to be responsible to pay for the costs of an intentionally caused fire or fire caused by gross negligence or any other hazardous materials fails to make payment to the city within 30 days after that determination of appeal to the city manager. Basically, we can go and recover those expenses. So fire department's asking for that to be adopted. We've got our assistant chief Mon here. If you have any questions, I've probably butchered what that really means to use those blankets, but I did my best. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, or our chief Mon's happy to answer as well.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions on this?
I have a question. Is the addition of the blanket and the asphalt, these are just adding to a list of items that are already on the list of things that we look for recovery on, correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
generally, according to our chief, most cities, or at least a good number of cities, have adopted this thermal because it's a growing problem.
Thank you.
So we've already had the ability to recover costs related to hazardous materials, just not specific to
Yes.
thermal. Gross negligence, is that defined somewhere else? Like what that actually means? Because it seems to me like this fires hazardous materials emergency caused by gross negligence, and then it says that it's defined by negligence. And I just was curious, is that somewhere else in the title about what that would mean? I guess I just am contemplating a situation where usually if there's a fire that happens, it's usually because someone is negligent.
Right.
And I would be worried if we were recovering costs from somebody who, had no intention of causing a fire, not an intentional cause of a fire, but negligently caused a fire. And I guess I would just curious if a public policy decision about trying to recover costs from someone who had an accident. And
so it's the difference between it's not necessarily defined anywhere else, but as you are aware, it's a pretty commonly accepted term within the law. Just for the benefit of the public and council, gross negligence is something more than just general negligence, but something less than an intentional act. But it would be the difference of something like, and this is not within the context of a car like we've been talking about here, but it would be maybe the difference between somebody using their barbecue on their back patio, and maybe there's a lot of fat or something in the meat that they're cooking, and it causes a grease fire, and the fire gets out of control and it catches the back porch on fire. We have to respond. That would be something that would be what you're talking about, like an accident, or that would be more just the simple negligence. Using that same example, it would be more like somebody using some sort of unaccepted fuel source, filling a barbecue full of some sort of fuel source that's not the typical propane, and then causing it, which is either an intentional or grossly negligent act that causes the fire. That's where we would look at doing that.
And there's no mandate on us recovering that. It just gives us the right to do that.
Correct.
Under the ordinance or the title.
Correct.
And then, I think that's another question I had. Thank you.
Yep.
One more.
Yeah, just a couple questions. So the frequency of this happening?
Chief, you might be able to answer that one better than me.
And then secondly, just if the Tesla's on the side of the road and burning up, you talked about a battery in a car. What else do you want? Rivian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, if that just happens, I mean, that's not gross negligence. If it's just manufacturer or something with the battery and we go and respond and take care of it.
So yes, so I'll answer that part, and I'll let him answer the part about how often. But as far as the gross negligence there, it would probably be less related to some sort of spontaneous combustion and more related to were you driving recklessly? Did you cause an accident? Did the accident cause the fire? Right. Something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The frequency of an EV fire is we've had a couple, but not many that get into that real good thermal runaway. Specific to this blanket, the blanket, let me just set that aside for a second. Some of the other things that we're hoping to be able to do with this is that pretty much on every single motor vehicle accident that we go on, we are throwing down $15, $20 worth of kitty litter to try to keep something out of the storm drain, to try to keep the oil, the fuel, the whatever out into that. That can be added into this bill to their insurance company, to their auto bills, their auto insurance company. With a hazardous materials spill, the owners of the truck, the company that of the fuel tanker or something like that, they're going to be the ones that are responsible to that. And for us, we keep track of those costs, but we usually, bring in a subcontractor, one of those big environmental companies to come in and do it, and then they're going to pull that trigger, right? Because really the only way for us to safely move and extinguish one of these battery-powered vehicles, and Tesla, Rivian, Kia, the only way that you can really do it when those batteries get into the thermal runaway, what they have is with copious amounts of water that only cool it, that doesn't stop it, or you smother it, take the oxygen away from it, which is what these blankets are supposed to do. They're 25 feet by 33 feet long. They weigh 91 pounds when they're wrapped up in the little thing. And you put a crew together on, completed the PPE, and you go and you drape it over the top of it, and then you wrap it with a ratchet strap, and then you get it on a you soak it down, and then you get it on a tow truck, and you take it somewhere where it can finish doing what it's going to do. Because it's possible, and there have been cases where it actually smothers it and it's done. Cool. But there have been other problems where it's just going to burn until there's nothing left. And that's what this blanket's supposed to do. And for us, middle of Main Street and Gentile, not a good place for that. The parking lot at Layton Estates or the Ridges or something like that. Seasons of Layton, not a good place for that, right? We need to get that thing wrapped up, pull it out of there, and then take it somewhere into our yard, to the shops, to the training tower or something, and let it do what it's going to do until it's done. And so and again, we haven't had any. We've had one, but we haven't had very many. So the time of this is, we haven't had it yet. But cars are becoming more popular. Charging stations are becoming more popular. In my preparation to come to talk with you tonight, there's been a couple incidents in South Korea over the last 2 days where they've had these charging stations down in underground parking, and the gases that they put off got up into it's just a mess. And so they're really advocating these everywhere where they have these charging stations too. So we're grateful to have these for one of our tools.
They had that accident in, was it California or Nevada? It was a truckload of batteries that
it shut down the whole highway.
Yeah.
And
they just moved it off so it could just burn.
Yeah. And this thing won't cover that, but that's what you have to do. You have to get it out of the way and then just soak it with water, or let it do what it's going to do. Because they have some products out there that try to slide up underneath, because most of those battery packs are underneath the car, and they just kind of they try to penetrate, they try to soak it down. But when those batteries get into that thermal runaway, there's no stop. There's really no stopping it, and it just goes until it's done.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for the education. I'm sure all of us are learning tonight from this. So this is I appreciate you being proactive, quite honestly. So that's good. Okay, let's go ahead then and move on to item number B, which is to amend the plot at the Wyndham Square Commercial Subdivision. And Mr. Chad Wilson will present these items.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Excuse me. This is a commercial subdivision plat amendment, as was indicated, for Wyndham Square. Show the map really quickly. This is at 1330 East Highway 193. I'll show some of the surrounding uses here on the map. This is the subject property. You've got Highway 193 here to the north, existing single-family residential uses to the south, other commercial uses surrounding the property. This is a fairly straightforward application. The application really is to take an existing plat and carve it up so that we have some additional units. I'm going to show you the existing, I should say, plat right now really quickly. So as it exists, you've got essentially one lot in this location with a large lot that kind of takes up the remainder of the property, including the buildings. The purpose of this plat is to further define these units and to help to clarify what some of the maintenance responsibilities are, to establish some open space and common areas between these commercial units. So you can see there that this existing one building is divided into two units. You have one unit that includes this larger building, and the remainder becomes common area that clarifies those maintenance responsibilities for this association. Fairly straightforward, reviewed by the Planning Commission. Excuse me. they have forwarded a recommendation of approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions if I can.
Any questions on this one, council? Okay.
Thank you.
Seeing that there are none, we'll go ahead and go on to our last item under our consent items, which is C. Mr. Steve Jackson's going to present this item to it, and it's an approval of a quitclaim deed.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's good to be with you tonight. Before you is Resolution 24-25, vacation of culinary waterline easement. The Leadership Learning Academy is looking to do an expansion over there off 2675 north. And as part of that expansion, there's a current waterline easement that was dedicated with the Windsor Square Commercial Phase 3 plat. That waterline easement was intended to have a public water line that connected in Rolling Hills Park to the north. And as that was established, we've since looked at that, and as Leadership Learning Academy would like to expand on the north side of their building here, it would impact that water line. The water line is actually not connected to Rolling Hills, and as we've done our water modeling, it's not necessary to be connected. So really that water line is a private fire hydrant line for Leadership Learning Academy. They've asked us to vacate this easement so that they can complete their construction of their expansion. And as a city, we feel it prudent that we no longer need the water line easement. So we would request that the council grant the request to approve this quitclaim deed and authorize the mayor to sign the necessary documents to abandon that easement and allow them to go forward with their project. So are there any questions I can answer for you on that?
Any questions?
So this does service a fire hydrant, though?
Yeah, there is a fire hydrant at the very back of the building that they'll have to relocate with their new construction.
But it'll be serviced from another line. Is that
well? The line will stay in place. They'll just move the fire hydrant from where it is in the back over to somewhere over on that other side.
So if it's a private water line, is there other instances in the city where a private water line supplies a fire hydrant?
Yeah, we have quite a few of those. A lot of our commercial facilities have private water lines that are interior to their sites, and they have their own fire hydrants. And then our fire department manages the inspection requirements for those to ensure they function and work for their systems.
But the landowner would be in charge of any maintenance of that line.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing that there's no more questions regarding our consent items, council, I'll bring this back to you for an action. If whoever is willing to make the motion, could you please state the ordinance number as well?
I move that we adopt the consent items as presented. Item A, the amended title for Title 16, Ordinance 24-24. Item B, the amended plat for Wyndham Square. And item C, the quitclaim deed approval, Resolution 24-25.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second that we adopt the items as presented. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. That pretty much concludes our meeting for tonight. So with that, if anybody has no unfinished business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you everyone for being here tonight. We appreciate you showing up.